Hey, thanks for joining us. We're going to start in a couple minutes here. You can start by getting your warm-up going there. Hi, Elena. Hi, Leo. Hi, Brady. Hi, Nick. Hey, looks like we're getting pretty much everybody here. Got 14 people looking. Hi, everybody. Start with your warm-up there. They are problems from yesterday. It's just that some people were struggling with these ones particularly, so I'd like to do them again to start with. Yeah, your assignment's going to be page 483. We're not going to be doing much. It's most of what we did yesterday, except yesterday you kind of copied off of me. Today you're going to give it your own shot, and I'd like to finish up the PowerPoint too. That last section there. So if you do want to do at least look at the textbook page, whatever it is, and you can follow along and want to do some of those. You can ask me if you need help with any of them now. It would be a great time. Just practice factoring trinomials. It's not the easiest thing, and it's going to get harder as the week goes on. Hey Nora, good to see you. Glad things are working out over there. How's New York? Is that number 2 up here, or is that number 2 from the work yesterday? Because these are the 2 that you skipped yesterday also. That's why I was going to go over them. Careful, Deidre. Negative y does not equal negative 1. Negative y equals negative 1y. Don't lose your variable there. So let's start with number 1 here. You had a couple minutes here to look at it. Not sure if it's better than Pittsburgh. I feel like everybody is in lockdown right now. Can't do much anywhere. But enjoy your time. Here we're going to, again, look at your C value here, which is negative 20. Keeping in mind that factors of negative 20 are going to be one positive and one negative, and they have to add up to a positive 8. So the larger one has to be positive here. So factors of 20 include 1 and negative 20, and negative 1 and 20. They include 2 and 10, which are the ones we're going to use. All right, negative 2 plus 10 equals that, positive 8. So that's the one we want. Then you're just going to split up your A value. That gets split because there are only 2 factors of it. That's a horrible parenthesis. And then we get a negative 2 with one of them and a positive 10 with the other. And you can factor that to recheck your answer. Again, this is just to check it, but FOIL it, sorry. M times n gives you the m squared. M times 10 gives you a positive 10m. Negative 2 times n gives you the negative 2m. Negative 2 times 10 gives you that negative 20. And when you combine them, you get m squared plus a positive 8m minus 20. So that one worked out. Looking at this one here, the biggest issue you're probably going to see is, remember that if we don't have a coefficient, it's implied that the coefficient is 1. So here we have actually y squared minus 1y minus 56. And again, we're going to start by looking at your c value here. And your c value is 56, but it is a negative. So we want negative factors of 56 and positive factors, so one of each, because that's negative. And this is negative over here, so you want the higher one to be the negative number. And again, just because that is a 1, these two factors have to be really close to each other. So we're going to start off with the ones that are right next to each other, which is the 7 and the 8. One of them has to be negative versus the other combination. And again, we want the higher one to be negative because this will be a negative answer. So this here is going to be the negative 1. So this is the one we want. And therefore you just split up your y squared because they only have two factors. And you have a negative 8 and a positive 7. Any questions on that? Mostly looking at you, Elsa, because you left these two blank on the work yesterday. Do we get them now? All right, today we're going to look at trinomials in the form of two variables. So our first one was h squared minus 4hk. I don't know why I have capitals and lowercase in here. K minus 77k squared. Now the only difference with these compared to what we just did is the fact that we have two variables. There's a k here now, which doesn't really change much. You just can't do much with the variables, so you kind of take it with you. And right now we're just going to ignore the variable, the second variable, and throw it out. And we're going to look at our c term again, which is that negative 77. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to write negative 77, and I'm going to start listing the factors that get me negative 77, keeping in mind they need to add up to negative 4. So in this case, we have factors like 1 and 77, where the 1 is negative, or we have 1 and 77, where the 77 is negative. Either way, that is way too far off from getting to negative 4 in any of them, so those aren't going to work. But you also have 7 and 11. I'm sorry, let's do positive 7, negative 11, negative 7, and positive 11. So we know these ones aren't going to work. So if you know that right away, you don't have to write them. Here, we need that 4 to be negative, so it needs to have the larger one has to be negative. 7 minus 11 gives you that negative 4. So this is the one we want. Or I'm sorry, 7 plus negative 11 gives you that negative 4, however you want to look at it. We are then going to use these as our numbers. So we're going to go back to our format. Our binomials, the h gets split up because there are only two factors of the h, which are h and h. And these also, because this is actually factors of 77k squared. So each of these have a k after it. And we're just going to add them in. So we have plus 7k and minus 11k. And that's really all there is to it. That's the only difference between those. What I'm going to ask you to do is the problems from yesterday. If you could do those right now, I believe I'll write them up here. So let's get rid of this. And our first one is x squared plus 11xy plus 24y squared. If we could keep the chat to math-related things, that would help me out so I don't have to read all your other stuff. Make sure I'm not missing any questions. That would be appreciated. Over here, we are going to look at our C term again, which is the positive 24. So it is positive, so you got factors of 24 that are positive. One and 24, 2 and 12, 8, 4 and 6. Those are your factors, and you're looking for the ones that will add up to 11. 1 plus 24 is 25, 2 plus 12 is 14, 3 plus 8 is 11, and 4 plus 6 is 10. So you want the 3 and the 8 here. So then we just go to our little format we got going, our binomials. And there are no factors for x squared besides x and x, so they each get split up. Over here, one gets a positive 3 and one gets a positive 8, but don't forget this y. This is actually 24y squared, so the y's also get split up. And you have 3y and 8y. Any questions on that problem? The second one was y squared, oh, I'm sorry, so v squared plus 2vw minus 48w squared. In this case, it's treated the same way. We're going to look for your c value here, which is negative 48. So I want factors of negative 48. So one has to be positive, one has to be negative. And they have to add up to 2, so the higher one has to be positive. But we'll do them all anyway. So you got 1 and 48, which are definitely not going to make it. You get positive 1 and negative 48, which are definitely not going to make it. Let's see, you got 2 and half of 40 is 24. And again, those probably aren't going to do it. Let's see. 3 would work, correct? 3 is a factor. Divided by 3 is 16. 3 and 16. You see how our numbers are getting closer together, and we got to get that negative 2 there. So, or positive 2. Let's see, 4 and 12. 5's not going to work. 6 should work, which is 8. 6 and 8, which are probably the ones we want because I can get a 2 out of a 6 and an 8. So again, that's not going to add up to 2, 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 that's not going to give you 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 2. This will give you negative 2, and this will give you positive 2. We want the positive, so we're going to take these guys, and we split up our v's, and we tack on, remembering this has a w squared to it, so each of these gets a w, and we have a negative 6w, and we have a positive 8w. Yeah, and those are the two examples for your homework if you want to go back and plug those in. Other than that, nothing else is going to be new today. I just need you to practice and get some drill in for doing all the trinomials and watching your signs, things like that. I think the two that were the biggest issue on the homework yesterday were the two that we started with today. Everything else was looking fairly well for most of you. Just keep in mind to watch your signs and be careful with your addition with your integers and stuff like that. But other than that, it is kind of a fairly straightforward process. It's kind of some trial and error going on in there too. So your homework assignments, which I would like you to spend the next like 25 minutes doing at least, and I'll be on, so if you have questions on it, so I'll keep the stream going. If you understand what's going on, you probably don't have to hang around. But you are working on page 483, 5 through 16, 21 through 29, 43 through 54. And there's an answer sheet in there. Okay, you figured that out? I don't know why it wouldn't let you on submit. But I would like this due by tomorrow morning so I can look at it before class and see which ones you're completely messing up. And I do need you to get really good at doing these because tomorrow we're going to start putting things in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. So there will be a coefficient in front of this x, and it's going to make life a little more difficult for you. However, there are some systematic ways that we can solve this. So I will hang on here for a bit, watching the chat to see if you have any questions on any of the problems, if you want me to do a couple of them. Let me know. Although it won't let you turn it in. What are you talking about? Are you talking about yesterday's assignment or today's assignment? You sure? I have your copy right here, so if you are missing it or anything, I got it already.